Byrd Ficklin looked really good at the whole football thing on Saturday. Utah was able to blow out Cal Poly. So in the second half, we got to see plenty of Byrd Ficklin. And what a treat for us, because the true freshman who played in his second ever collegiate game, first ever in Rice-Eccles Stadium, looked absolutely miraculous. Loved what he was able to do, came in right away and led this Utah offense up and down the field. Passing-wise was 4 for 53 yards, and then rushing-wise ran in 2 touchdowns, 5 yards a carry, or 5 carries, 55 yards. That's 11 yards per run, 2 touchdowns. He had that. The first drive he was in, he gave it to Wayshawn Parker, who just broke free up the middle. Then the second drive, he kept it on the QB designed run, and he ran off tackle to the right, and just boom, he was gone as well. Then he walked in the late touchdown. The moment didn't look too big for Byrd. He looked like he had all the answers to the test, knew where to go with the ball, was decisive, got it out quickly, and he looked really good. I mean, there's guys, Brendan Zurbruggs, obviously, as the guy who came in. We'll talk about Isaac Wilson in a moment, but there's other guys in this Utah quarterback room who should be above Byrd on the depth chart. So the fact that this 3-star out of Oklahoma has already impressed Jason Beck this much, that he was the first guy to get in after Dampier left the game, is incredibly exciting. And we'll talk about why it was him over Isaac, and, you know, how much truth is there to Isaac being named QB2 now, looking back by Kyle Whittingham, if Byrd's the one who first got in. We'll dive into that here in a sec. But first, just going back to Byrd, I loved what I've seen from Byrd. I talked about a little bit ago, like, hey, does this mean he's the future QB1 of this team? I can't go there yet, because the truth of the matter is, it was Cal Poly, and he did what he was supposed to do. I'm incredibly encouraged and excited, but I am not ready to say, hey, if Devin Dampier does have another year eligibility. I'd love for him to come back to Utah. We'll see what the type of year he's having. Hopefully Utah can retain him. They've been able to retain some of their best guys, but also some of their best guys have gotten some crazy NIL offers and end up heading out the door, right? So hopefully it's something Utah can do. I mean, it's obviously only week 2, but I'm just saying in general, like Devin Dampier, hopefully he's at Utah next year. Nothing is a guarantee in college football. So should Utah just go, well, it's fine if we lose Dampier, we have Byrd Ficklin. I'm just not ready to go there. He hasn't done enough against the best of teams. He's still so young. And last year, you know, he did. I will give Byrd this, right? He looked better than Isaac did against Southern Utah. Isaac tossed 2 picks against Southern Utah, just looked overwhelmed. And sure enough, he was when he got in the games later on in the season. But Byrd looks very comfortable, confident, and I love what I'm seeing so far. I just need to see more before I'm going to say, yeah, that sophomore next year is going to be the starting quarterback of the Utah Utes. If Jason Beck believes in him and Utah says if something were to happen with Dampier, that we got our guy, or even 2 years from now, if Dampier stays next year and then goes, if Jason Beck's just like, we got our guy, like there's no reason to go in the portal, we have Byrd Ficklin, I'm good with that. I just don't know if right now at this moment, based on the limited sample size we've seen, I'm ready to say, yep, that's the future star quarterback for Utah football. But I will say, based on what I've seen so far, I feel like there's a chance that he could continue to grow into that. Love what I've seen from Byrd Ficklin. The athleticism, the dual threat abilities are a major plus to him. And you can tell it's a pain in the back for defenses to try and stop him with his accuracy, with his legs being what they are. Can he do it against the best? That remains to be seen. Only a true freshman, but like what I've seen from him so far. So Byrd looked really good against Cal Poly and very well maybe Utah's QB of the future. Just a year ago, we thought that was going to be Isaac Wilson, the 4-star recruit from the state of Utah. We get to Corner Canyon High School, thrust into action earlier than we all thought, and did not look great in year 1 for Utah, although he should have never been on the field. So he did not play this last weekend in the block game, which was obviously very surprising. And, you know, he was asked by the media, like, hey, was it part of this is you want to preserve his redshirt season? Obviously didn't redshirt last year, played in 9 games. And Kyle did say, hey, that's part of the equation, said that's a part of it too. But he said more than anything, it was just getting a look at Byrd, who they've never gotten to see in live action. This comes just from Joe Coles, who said the combination of not squandering games, at least right now with Isaac, and needing to get a good look at Byrd and see what he can do to lead what you saw today, Byrd getting all the reps when Devin exited. And I think it's very interesting that this is what Utah decided to do. Number one, I totally agree with it, and I like it. But they also talk about, like, hey, we want to preserve Isaac's red shirt. Well, if that's the case, the very first play last week, Devin Dampier's helmet got knocked off. Even if it was just for one play, you threw Isaac Wilson in the game. Granted, you weren't going to have him throw the ball. You motioned him out, and then Hunter Andrews was going to take a direct snap, and I think you just didn't like the look, so they burned a timeout there. But you seemed, even if it was just one play, ready to throw Isaac Wilson in there. He is a backup quarterback. But if you want to preserve his red shirt so bad for one play, why not throw a Byrd Ficklin in there and then just have him motion out? Because you don't really need him to do anything anyways. He's just motioning out. So a defensive back has to stand by him, because if you leave him wide open, like a team's just going to throw the ball up to him. So you just can't do that basically. But this is the thing with Isaac. I just don't know how much I feel like, oh, this is a redshirt thing if you're just going to throw him out there last week. So I found that very interesting. Joe Coles also did a good job of bringing up some of the old Kyle Whittingham comments he made on Isaac when he said that those reps he'd gotten last year and those game reps, just there's no substitute for that, and that that's what allowed him to win the backup job. But Jason Beck has said he thinks of it more as a 2A, 2B thing when talking about Byrd because of his athleticism and some of the things he's able to do, and Isaac can run as well. So the fact that this is a very close race actually is still very interesting to me. Just the way it's been handled, Isaac not going in, talk about preserving a red shirt. But if you're your backup quarterback, then likely Isaac is going to play at some point too. And I mean, is this just going to be one of those things for Utah? So Bird's gotten in 2 games now. And I think Utah has a chance to blow out some Big 12 teams, but I just don't know how bad it would be for the backup QBs to get in. Is this something they're going to manage? Like, Bird's played 4 games now, so when it's a blowout, let's have Isaac play 4 games. And, is Zerbrug going to come in and play 4 games? Although he burned his red shirt last year, I do believe. So I'd just be curious to see how Utah is kind of approaching this, like, preserving red shirt thing. I find it interesting, just the way that they've gone about this. And I totally agree with getting Byrd the reps, but I'm also just now intrigued. Like they did this last week too, where Isaac was the first one in, but you didn't really use him. So was Kyle telling the truth? Is Isaac actually the backup quarterback? I still believe so, but it's just weird when you're talking about like preserving a red shirt, because more than likely you're going to need your backup quarterback to play in 5 games on the season. That's just usually how it goes, whether it's helmet getting knocked off, injuries, stuff happens. I just find it hard to believe that they're going to preserve Isaac's red shirt as the backup. But time will tell. Either way, love what I'm seeing out of Byrd Ficklin. And I will just throw out there, I still think Isaac can be a good collegiate quarterback because he showed flashes as a freshman. He should have never been on the field. And I still think long-term there is upside there. I'm not ready to write off Isaac Wilson, but curious to see what he looks like if he does get an in-game opportunity in Jason Beck's system. For now, though, give me all the Byrd Ficklin in the blowouts. Hopefully we get to see him up in Laramie next week when Utah takes on Wyoming, but time will tell. One thing's for sure, because Byrd Ficklin's been getting in. It's been a good time to be a Utah Utes fan. This offense has been cruising. This team has been cruising. They look incredible. Today's episode of Locked On Utes is brought to you by our great friends at Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, you can get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. How about their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support, which make the whole process smoother? You could join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5. So that's SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order at supplyhouse.com. Real people, real services when you use Supply House. That's going to do it for today's Locked On Utes. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Talk about the press conference comments from Kyle Whittingham, the Utah players, as we gear up for week 3 of Utah football. They're heading up to Laramie to take on Wyoming. We're breaking it down all week long, talking about your favorite team, the Utah Utes, every day.